could potentially benefit the Indonesian teams who like to play it slightly more strategic, more smart. They don't really care too much about being in the heat of battle every single second.
তোমরা একটু বসো আমি চা বানিয়ে নিই
Esports, not the heaviest hitters out there, but shockingly accurate with their circle reads, getting into that final zone time and time again. They're one of the teams, in fact, they are the team with the most number of top threes, and that is absolutely unbelievable. Where they do lack, though, is those firepower, getting in those shots, pulling away the eliminations. But if they can repeat their circle hunting once again here today, I'm pretty sure a decent amount of this prize pool awaits them.
And it's a good time to also remind everyone, but for Dragon Esports, this is their very first international debut.
Yeah.
None of these players have ever played on a stage such big, with stakes so high, and it just happens to be the Esports World Cup. The fact that they made it to top 12 with some help from Team Falcons, of course, in the final round of knockouts, is already mad impressive.
Oh yeah.
Do I expect them to win? No, of course not. But I expect them to continue showing us that genius, that brilliance of reading the circle and making smart rotation and taking fights only when needed.
I know, right? Latam almost had another representative in Vision System, but of course we've got Tash Bunny and AdMats awaiting as they've got a little bit of an update. Let's hear exactly what they have to say.
Hello survivors, welcome to Free Fire at Esports World Cup 2025 final stage.
And today we're in front of the contenders key wall where all of the team's keys are currently being displayed. And as you know, over at EWC, nothing is granted, everything is earned. And at EWC, no competition is as ruthless as this, and this includes the trophy system. Every team earns a key engraved with their name, and that's their right to compete. The game trophy is not complete until it's sealed with the champion's key, and only one team can place their key into the trophy and become an EWC champion. Then, the frame of the champion's key is embedded into the totem, a symbol of legacy displaying every champion of the year.
The keys of the eliminated are crushed. The champion then selects 3 keys as a personal token, a reminder of those they have humbled. And a resin block beneath the totem holds those crushed keys, and the club championship trophy is awarded to the one club that rose above the rest and reigns supreme across all EWC games. Let's see who's gonna win today and be crowned champions for Free Fire at EWC 2025.
It's all for the marbles, ladies and gentlemen. We, once more, have a potential of 10 maximum rounds ahead of us. But if one team speedruns the finals, we could end in 4. But I personally prefer to have a long and eventful night. We've come this far. I don't want it to end in 4 rounds.
I don't know. I don't disagree with you, but at the same time, I don't, absolutely agree with you. That's exactly what Champion Rush is all about. Who can rush to the championship as quickly as possible, be as accurate as possible with their aim for the final circle as well as the Booyah when they truly need it. Because at the Southeast Asian finals, we saw Buriram unlocking the Champion Rush condition, 80 points, and then not being able to close the game. And a underdog squad from Indonesia went on to win the whole championship, and that is Onyx. And unfortunately, that luck didn't last very long. They didn't even make it past Point Rush to be here at the grand finals. But of course, as we kick off game number 1 out of potential 10 here, we start things off at Bermuda, and this map is usually conquered by the Southeast Asian squads.
First of all, we have to look at the drop spots. Nothing out of the ordinary so far, and it's been quite a while since we see the teams actually play give proper respect to one another.
Yeah.
No hot drop, no huntings, no R7 is not coming out with shenanigans and hot dropping Dragon Esports like they did in Point Rush. Peak taken by Buriram again, Fluxo getting Factory and a Pochinok, everything going as planned. AGAL having a long rotation potential again as Sentosa. Some scuffles happening very early on. A bounty put out onto General from Lost, but so far no knocks yet.
Some say all roads lead to Rome, but I say at Bermuda, all zip lines lead you to peak. And who stands at peak is Buriram. My goodness me, Lost finding an early one here onto RRQ. But we know the Indonesians are always cheeky, spreading out in the open, looking for a lot of loot very early on. And RRQ is actually one of the front runners of Bermuda finding a booyah here shouldn't be a huge problem for them at the end of the day. As you can see, Dirt's already with the 800 coins in his hands, looking for 200 more at the cost of Haral, who does manage to get away. And thankfully does manage to pick up a gun that can match up to what Duts is pulling in as well, that AUG should be able to reach him.
And we are also seeing signs of teams who want to get down and dirty early on. Rigby with another collection. That's point number 2 for a loss. And off-screen, BRU actually put out a bounty onto Fluxo. We haven't seen that in a long time. It's an old rivalry reignited. It was buried for a good year and now it has resurfaced on the biggest stage in the world. But I don't think Fluxo cares too much about it. They love to play on the southern side of the map. First time we saw that it was AGAL that spoiled the party, but right now, don't think that's going to be the case. Duts goes down, point 3 for loss.
Yeah, but that's classic Buriram, right? Putting out the bounty onto a player from Fluxo only means that they get to track their movements across the battlefield. I highly doubt Fluxo is going to be playing any sort of tricks whatsoever, but look at the strategy that comes through from the team in a little bit later on. You guys don't have the maps in front of you. I believe Fluxo is playing a counter to this at this very point of time, allowing GU to hold back as the rest of them continue rotating in towards Mars Electric to look for more loot. This could just be the biggest surprise for Buriram, but I highly doubt Buriram went in there for the contract to play the Hunters. They just wanted to know if or not Fluxo was going to come in here to bum rush them and kick them out of peak very early on. So Buriram can stay put for the time being, but they are not the only team that Buriram needs to worry about. Remember yesterday, R7 also came looking for them at peak.
Yeah. I was about to bring that up, right? R7 with a very ballsy move to go to peak early and actually flushed out everyone else. But the occupants of this fishing hut, not so lucky, lost once more continues their bout against RRQ. With Kyridum takes down that blue wall, Haone down and out. Easily collected by RRQ, getting a second elimination point. The rivalry continues between these two new-found fighters.
Yeah, and just like that, RRQ has made that full recovery already. And with the P90, easy takedown for Ma'al. The question is obviously going to be whether or not Lost continues to fight for this, because we did spot Falcons over at Hangar earlier on as well. They could very well be the third party in this little scuffle between Lost and RRQ. And thankfully Lost does not want any part of that as they quickly back away into Clock Tower to play a little bit of recovery.
Very bloody start. Team Vitality getting 5 eliminations. EVOS just picked off 2 members from R7 who got revived back onto the map. Gonna check in on Dragon Esports as well. Playing very safe, like we expected, right? This is a team that is, you can agree, I think everyone can agree, not the best at gunfight, not the best in mechanic, but one thing they're good at is reading the map. They know how to make rotations, and their survival instincts is second to none for a team that is on the world stage for the first time. I think it's worth highlighting every now and then. They are going to potentially be sandwiched by teams like Core Memory and Vitality, but for now they haven't made any presence just yet, unless Core Memory runs into them.
Yeah, when you're not the strongest fighter on the battlefield, the best thing that you can do is do your homework, find out where everybody else loves to play and where everybody else rotates through, and AGAL just found Peter rotating through their mids, and they did not think twice. Shot it down instantaneously. Question is, do they now go in for the hut? Noda staying silent. Cypher, M590 in hand. Noda spotted out. Plays the corner really well. Decent blue wall pulled up by Cypher. And a counter tag as well. Barros comes in here for the bait and switch. Going in for the shutdown. And Dew is there for the shots as well. The rest of the players from Pain, though, Motovia helping them out from afar very effectively with the VSK.
Has the air support, but unfortunately the numbers are dwindling for the side of Pain Gaming. Gus having to run away. So AGAL have an advantage. 3-2. Chinoy, Cypher, Barros all gunning for Gus, who is trying to turn the corner, puts out the blue wall on one end, but he's quickly running out of defensive resources. And finally AGAL catches up onto him. There's really nothing much that Motovia can do, and Pain Gaming forced to concede.
Very surprisingly slow shutdown from AGAL. This does not look like a prime squad at this point of time, which they'll have to worry about a little bit later on. Pain Gaming, on the other hand, has more to worry about. Final player on the battlefield. And they will be the first team to get painfully taken out of the race here at the Grand Finals. But then again, Bermuda was never a map that belonged to the Brazilians.
Really stings, and it's also a pretty interesting result, right? We say that Bermuda is not a Brazilian team thing, but Raja on the panel pointed out that they're bigger fans of the classic map than they are of maps like Kalahari or Solara. And in this case, Pain Gaming just got off
In their local league.
In the local league, maybe. On the world stage. It is pretty tough. AGAL, the fact that they ended up taking out Pain shows that they still are sticking to that late rotation on Bermuda. I think Pain Gaming probably didn't expect that to be the case coming into the grand finals and got punished.
Yeah, and AGL is not the strongest squad out there that they need to worry about. So that's something that Pain Gaming needs to think about overall. But I do agree with you. They kind of got caught with their pants down. Unsuspecting move coming through and being caught off guard. Pain Gaming sacrificed very early on. Thankfully, this is a day where we could have potentially 10 games. Fingers crossed though, Pain Gaming has got the capability to pick up those points. Very crucial points in game number 2. And that is where they do shine. Purgatory is a place where Pain has showed up quite strongly in the past.
And I do wonder how this would affect the dynamics of teams like Fluxo, who always goes Mars Electric, because game 1, when they did it in the knockout stage, they ran into AGAL, and they were like, why are you guys here? This was not supposed to be the case. AGL made a bit of diversion, Fluxo on the map, making their rotation, and now Lost and BRU fight head-to-head.
Yeah, big opportunity here for Lost to help out the whole lineup of the Brazilian teams to get rid of a heavy contender for the championship. Buriram looking for Lost very early on, accidentally, of course, as they try to reposition themselves in the heart of this next safe zone. And Buriram not going in for the chase shows you the intention of Buriram, not going for points, just purely going in here for the positioning for the next circle.
Same can be said for Lost, who actually makes a retreat, got scanned out by the Dinoculars. And there are two possibilities. Either Buriram is tracking them or RRQ was thinking of making a rotation. And even Lost themselves are using their Dinoculars to make sure that no one is near that northwestern part so they could move outwards. And I think I like the elevation, but RRQ catches them mid-rotation. Double Riptide that even shot out as two bodies drop as the past catches up to the present. RRQ now looking to clean up Lost.
This one is done for. Rigby all alone. Can he get to the vending machine? Dude says, I'm going to stop you, baby! Before he can get to the vending machine. Up on top of the roof. Straight in. The Oscar trying to save him. Has got the charge buster. Just not the gun for this. But he still hits a beautiful headshot. But Rigby so close yet so far. RRQ with the preemptive strike before those revivals could be brought in. The vending machine was right there.
The extended conflict finally comes to an end with RRQ being the victors. The rotation was correct from Lost. They just did it at the wrong time. They did not expect RRQ to be there. And RRQ, I'm convinced that that was their Dinoculars, pinging out the whole team of Lost right before the move towards that silo. And with that, RRQ, they have 6 points and counting, full squad available, resources from the fallen members of Lost. And they should be ready to take on Buriram if they show up at Bima Sakti Strip on the south side.
Dinoculars and their big bright eyes, because all thanks to Buriram, they had Lost on the back foot, looking for the high ground, and RRQ just happened to be there. How much luckier can you get, Indonesia? And RRQ settling the fight with Lost so early on here. And look at Buriram. This is why they didn't want to go in there for the hunt. The read of the circle, once again perfect from this Thai squad. But now they'll have to deal with one of the deadliest predators out there, courtesy of Indonesia. RRQ Kazu on rotation. And now there's just a little bit of open land between these two titans.
Knowing RRQ, I think when they are